unsupervised ML in Power BI using PyCaret. I hope you all can hear my voice, right? So can you just give me a quick VIC? Okay, great, wonderful. And also you can see my screen as well. Okay, wonderful. All right, guys, so let's get started with the session. And before that, let me just introduce myself. And like my name is Varun Rao, and I work as a data science researcher at Insight. Uh, we have also like met in the past, and we have conducted various sessions on various topics. So before this, we actually conducted a session on PyCaret, where we introduced the PyCaret, the idea of PyCaret, and what it is and how it is utilized, and what kind of. So is it the voice is a bit low? Okay, all right. Okay, thank you so much, Jigna, and everyone. So if there is any issue, just please let me know, because Ajay said like the voice is a bit low. Ajay, just like increase your volume, or can you just check if there is anything wrong from your side? Okay, great, great, great. Yeah, so I was saying that like we conducted in the past, like we I think in the month of August we had a session on PyCaret, wherein Girish, I'll no you yeah, in Collab you see that is a Google platform, right? So it's a cloud platform, so you need to pre-install it again and again. But if you do it in your local system, so which is what we will do today in our local system only. So once you install it, then there would be no issues. Okay, okay. So as I was saying that like we covered the PyCaret in our previous session, and like may I know how many of you attended that session? Like how many of you are like familiar with the PyCaret environment and like did work something on PyCaret? And okay, and oh, Shrikant says no, no issues, Shrikant. So we will have a brief summary of what PyCaret is. And if you want to understand PyCaret completely, so all the basic functionalities of PyCaret, what you can do, you can go to our YouTube channel, NCS YouTube channel, where there we have uploaded playlist, right? So there you can find the PyCaret session if you guys missed it or you guys were not present in the previous session. So first, so attend this session, so you will get an understanding of what PyCaret is in this session also. But here we are slightly moving ahead of the topic, because we covered all the basics in our previous session, right? And now we are going to perform some unsupervised machine learning in this. Yeah, it's also in Insight Thursdays. Absolutely clear. So you can go through those videos and then probably again go through these go through the session, so you can get a better understanding of what we are trying to do here. Oh, Rajwan says was tempted to use it in my last project submission. Okay. Yeah, so see, Rajwan, it's like altogether different things, right? So this is something we will not encourage you to do in your projects, because there you need to understand how sklearn is working and how you can implement your models using sklearn, right? Which is like the basic essential package, right? There, see, once you explore sklearn properly, then you will have a wider understanding, and then you can go ahead with this kind of tools such as PyCaret and packages such as PyCaret. Yeah. Okay, I get it, Rajman. No issues. Neeraj, yeah, I'll get to that. No issues. I'll get to that. We will understand what is PyCaret basically. So let's come back to this topic today. So right now we are focusing on unsupervised ML in Power BI and PyCaret. So if you see, there are three aspects to the session. So one is like we'll cover what is unsupervised learning, because basically you all know what is unsupervised learning. So I'll come to that, and then we will also understand Power BI, why it is used and how it is used and how it is important in a data scientist's life or an analyst's life, right? And third thing is PyCaret here. So based on the title of the session, I would like to ask you a question here. So since I'm saying unsupervised learning, what do you think that we're going to cover in this particular session in terms of unsupervised learning? DR. Sukrut, what is DR? NVIC? Komal, what is NVIC? Also, oh, you're saying no voice is clear. That's what you meant? Clustering. Okay, Vikram Cycle, you're right. We'll focus on clustering. Label data. No. Yes, we don't have label data in unsupervised machine learning. In supervised machine learning, we have label data, but in without any, yes, Arijit, right? Clustering. Okay. Apart from clustering, what else do you think? Okay, Rahul has given the answer. Yeah. PCA is one of the things which is called unsupervised learning, and clustering is the another thing. Essentially, when we talk about clustering, so as you guys have focused in your class as well, you essentially focus on k-means clustering, right? There are other forms of clustering as well, but what we were taught in the classes of machine learning intermediate and what we're going to focus right now in the session is basically k-means clustering. Okay. Yeah, PCA is one of the things, but we will not go into PCA because on the time, if time permits, because if time permits, we also understand what Power BI is and how we will implement clustering in Power BI, but PCA is altogether a different topic which needs more time, right? Yeah. Okay, great. I got your responses. So let's move on further. And we will also discuss about Power BI and PyCaret also. So first, let's focus on PyCaret, and then we'll come to Power BI. So the agenda for today's session is basically to again introduce you to PyCaret, because like some of you are saying that they don't know what PyCaret is basically. So I'll give you a brief about what PyCaret is. Those who have attended previous session, it's okay. Let's revise it once again. And secondly, we will focus on clustering in PyCaret. So as we did in our previous session, we focused on, when we were doing PyCaret, we focused on linear regression and logistic regression, right? I think we did this in our previous session, right? No, Bimal, we don't have to download any data set. I'll give you the links and everything. You'll get the notebooks and PPT, everything for your use after the session. Okay, so we focused on linear regression and logistic regression in PyCaret in the previous session, but today we will focus on clustering, and we will see how we can do clustering and how it is different from when we perform linear regression and logistic regression, right? So I'll say logistic. Yeah, okay. Then the next thing is introduction to Power BI. I understand that most of you might not use Power BI in the past, or you don't know how Power BI works, and this might be new for you, right? The same is the case for me, with me as well, because I also don't use Power BI extensively, but I see that there are people here who do use Power BI in their work, right? So that's a good thing. We can take some help from them, and essentially what I'll focus is in basically to get started with Power BI, see how the environment is, and we will create one dashboard. Okay, we will first implement clustering in PyCaret. Sorry, in Power BI. Okay, first we will implement clustering in PyCaret, and then again we will implement clustering the same thing in Power BI, and then based on that we will create a dashboard, which is the end goal basically in a business problem, right? So Power BI is basically a platform where, or a tool which is essentially used by analysts or data scientists to showcase their results or insights to the stakeholders. Okay. Yes, Power BI is free, Vinay, right? Okay. And lastly, we will look at the demo case study, which is like implementation of clustering in PyCaret and Power BI. Okay. So that is the agenda, the whole agenda for this session today. I hope you guys are clear with the agenda, right? Any questions or anything you want to ask here? Okay. Great. So let's come to Power BI. As so many of you were asking what is Power BI, to those, I would say Power BI is basically a Python package. It's an open source Python package which is free to use. You can use it without any cost or software licensing cost or something. Okay, So it's all free to use. You can use it, and what you can do out of it is basically when you use machine learning, sklearn, when you want to do machine learning and when you want to use sklearn for it, what is meaning PyCaret? Oh, guys, like, what is the question here? I disagree on Power BI being free. Arijit, no, it's not. It's not free. I'll tell you. Like, there's a desktop version which you can use for your use, like the way you do in Tableau, right? We are showing PyCaret and talking Power BI. Okay, so is there any problem here, Arijit? Okay, okay, guys, let's yeah, let's like hold on a bit here for the queries. What I'll do is I'll cover the PyCaret part here, and then we will go for the questions, right? And then I'll cover Power BI, then we will go for the questions. Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. So as I was saying that it's a Python open source Python package. PyCaret is basically a open source Python package where you have the ability to write your code in very few lines. Okay, so you don't have to, like the way you do machine learning modeling in sklearn, right? You write n number of lines of code. Okay, so first you do importing. Okay, and then you do some let's say description of the data or something, right? Like shape, checking shape, or doing the describe or something, and then you probably do EDA. Okay, and you need to figure out missing values or outliers, all these things. Then you again do profiling, pandas profiling and stuff. Okay, and if you do want to do visualizations, again you have some lines of code. Then again you want to create a train test split of your data set, and then you fit the model. Okay, and then finally with some conclusions and accuracy some metrics, you evaluate your model. So there are like multiple lines of codes for each and every operation that you do in Python in sklearning, right? Sklearn. So, but in PyCaret, you only have, let's say, for example, you only have 5 lines of code, which is like load your data set, do all the pre-processing in one line of code. So in 1 or 2 lines of code, load your data set, do all the pre-processing, and again then fit the model, and then compare the model for right metrics, and that's it. If you want to save it, you can save it. So essentially the use of lines of code in PyCaret is very minimal, very less in comparison to sklearn that you do. So it's quite automated. Everything is done automatically in PyCaret. So you just write. So for loading, you write one line of code. For fitting the model, you write one line of code. For comparing the results, you write one line of code. And for pre-processing also, you can just write like setting up the environment in PyCaret, you just write one line of code. So in minimal lines of codes, you can complete your modeling part, and you can come up with results in PyCaret. That's what PyCaret does. Okay, so that's the different. Based on this, what happens is it's pretty easy to use because you don't have to write much code. Okay, less code here. 1 second. Very less code here. Okay, you don't have to write lines of code, and easy to use. And based on your code lines, the productivity of your modeling increases, right? So you don't have to spend much time here in writing lines of codes and then eventually understanding it. Everything will be done automatically in your PyCaret environment. Okay, understanding the metrics of the model, various models you can compare at the same time. All your metrics would be displayed here. Okay. Yeah, Somjit. PyCaret has all the features of sklearn, but however, there are some like differences. Okay, you need to understand those differences. And if things are working out for you on your data set and the modeling, then probably you can go with PyCaret. If it is not, if there is something wrong that you're not able to understand what kind of features are important for you, or if there is the feature engineering done in right way or not, then probably you can go to sklearn and understand it, right? So that is what PyCaret does. And the last thing is, if you want business ready solutions in less time, then probably PyCaret is one of the packages that you can take up. and do your solutions quite easily and quite fast. Okay, so that's how the PyCaret has a pretty good advantage in terms of implementation. Okay. Okay, guys. So are you guys clear with the idea of PyCaret? Wonderful. Great, great, great. Okay, let's move further and understand how clustering is done in PyCaret. And I am assuming that everybody here is pretty okay with the concepts of clustering. Okay, so I know like you have covered your clustering concept in machine learning intermediate, and you guys know about it. So in PyCaret, how it is done, that's what I'll be discussing here. In PyCaret, in PyCaret, you have this. You need to import this PyCaret.clustering module. Okay, with this, and writing few lines of code of setting up your environment in PyCaret, and then creating the model, and then assigning your model to whatever kind of clustering you want to do. Okay, so you can just do this with few lines of codes in PyCaret. So this is the module that we are talking about, and this is what we will implement in PyCaret. Okay, and the concept of clustering is pretty same, so that based on the similarities of the data points, you cluster the data points into certain groups, into clusters. Okay, and then you evaluate those clusters whether these clusters are good enough or not based on some metrics. Not metrics exactly, but we use elbow method, we use silhouette score, all these things, right? And we visualize our cluster points and say whether we have done it in a right way or not. So that's the idea of clustering. And the module which you use for clustering in PyCaret is this PyCaret.clustering. Okay, are we clear with the concept of clustering here in PyCaret? Yes, Rohit. It changes the data type as well. Okay, I let's see. I can explain you all these things, but it's going to take some time in this particular session. So what I will suggest is please go through the previous session that we conducted on PyCaret. There we have discussed everything in detail, right? All the basics. How do we set up, and how do we start with the very basic models such as linear regression, logistic regression, all these things, right? So all those questions would be addressed there. Yes, Anil. Yeah, PyCaret will tell us that. I'll show you. I'll show you. Right now, let's understand the clustering part here. So I hope you guys are okay with this clustering idea, right? Let's move forward and go to the Power BI. So before going to Power BI, I want to understand. I want to get some answers from you guys. Like, what is Power BI? What is its use? Why do we need it? And what kind of advantage does it give? So all the Power BI enthusiasts and who are using it, just give me a like wonderful answers here. Yes, similar to Tableau, absolutely, Arjit. Data visualization tool, yes. Sangeeta, yes. Umangi visualization tool, right? But why is it important? Like, why do you want Power BI? You can do visualization in Python, or you have various packages such as Matplotlib, Seaborn, Plotly, Pandas Bouquet, right? Why do you need Power BI? Somebody said, Nile said dashboards. Okay, dashboard creation. Okay. Do you think we can create dashboards in Python also? We can script. Okay, yes, says we can script. Uh, I haven't done much of scripting in these tools, but I think, okay, if you can elaborate more on the scripting part, I can understand. Yes. Okay. Okay. Graphical user interface packages are widely used. Okay. It is cheaper. Umangi, it is cheaper. Okay. How can you say it's cheaper? What is the cost of Power BI license? Because if I talk about Python or R, if you talk about R package, right? There's R Shiny, which can create wonderful visualization dashboards for free. You don't have to pay anything in that. Integration and free. No, Satyam, it's not free. There is a fees to it. There is a license fees to it. You have to buy it. Yes, yeah. In Python using Dash, definitely we can do that. I think you guys are missing very simple idea. You guys have given wonderful answers. I understand all these answers are pretty valid, but no code required. Yes, user friendly, easy to use. Absolutely. See, it's as simple as just drag and drop, right? You don't have to worry of writing lines of codes. Okay, you don't have to pick some packages and put it in and import and do something, right? Just pick and drop, right? DAX, yes. Data analysis expressions are something we write, definitely, Arijit. But so that is like where you have a specific use, right? But if you want to just visualize your data set and like do some transformation and just you visualize it, right? You just need to drag and drop, right? Am I correct here? All the experts? Yeah. So it's pretty simple. It's easy to use. It's just drag and drop. You don't have to beat around the bush, or you don't have to beat your head for writing the code or something. Yes, we write some expressions like the way we do in Excel, or there is in DAX, in Power BI we call it DAX, data analysis expressions. So we write those things for doing some calculations and stuff, right? I agree. But if you want to just use it for simple visualization tool, and if you want to show your insights to your stakeholders, managers, it's a wonderful tool. You can just complete your work maybe in like within hours and just go for a meeting and display it, right? That's why these tools are like pretty much handy, and they like a lot of business BI people and data analysts pick up these tools and they start like playing around it, right? That's why Power BI and Tableau are pretty popular, and that's why they are charged also, because that is the reason why they charge it, because it's easy to use. People get load to it, and they just buy it and they just start working. Yeah, free version is there, Neelam. Yeah, definitely we have the free version, so we will work on the free version today. Yeah, Alfred, gateway and embedded codes, absolutely. So that is like a higher end, right? If you're expert, you're a developer, Power BI developer or a Tableau developer, there you need all these functionalities, and you'll work on those functionalities. But for simple use, basic use, you just need that software, and you need data set, and just do the drag and drop stuff, and you can get the plots. That's what I'll show you today also, the simple way, right? We know that we have people who are like not familiar with these tools, who doesn't know how to use Power BI, and they haven't used Tableau as well. So for them, it would be a little bit tough and difficult. So what we'll do, we'll just simplify things and show you all the basic stuff that we can do in Power BI. Because there is a use of PyCaret, Arijit. So, oh, there are two Arijit. One is Chaudhary and one is Chakravarti. Okay, I was actually getting confused with. I thought there's only one Arijit. Okay, okay, all right. Okay, my bad. Sorry for that. And it was like CH. Okay, right. So there was a lot of yeah. Okay, sorry, my bad. All right. So I'll answer the question why Power BI and not Tableau, because the person who created Power BI, or sorry, the person who created PyCaret, Mr. Moiz Ali, he utilized a simple two lines of code to integrate it into Power BI, and from there you can use this module called the package called PyCaret and start your clustering or do machine learning in your Power BI environment. That's what I'll show you. Okay. Only you need to just do the importing part there, run the Python script, do the importing part, and then we can create our visualizations out of whatever model we create, the clustering model we create. Don't worry, we will go through all these steps, right? Okay, let's go forward. So that's the idea of Power BI. So let's understand this is how we can do wonderful visualizations in Power BI. Okay, and we can extract data from various sources, right? SQL database, Excel, okay, other databases, RDMS, and all these things, right? Cloud, even cloud. So I'm going to extract data from web today. Okay. Okay. So there's a question like, why don't we have it in curriculum, right? Power BI is more, let's say, you don't have to write more expressions in Power BI, but in Tableau you don't have to do that. Tableau is pretty automated. Like you can automatically do stuffs. It's more easy drag and drop than Power BI. Okay. No, I don't think so. Jaitit, PyCaret plus Tableau, I think we don't have that facility to do. In case if in future if it comes up, then probably the author might release it. Okay, in the update. If that is the case, yeah, you can research on it. If you find something, let us know definitely. Okay. So we were talking about Power BI and Tableau. You're saying why not Power BI is in our curriculum, right? As I said, there is DAX and there are expressions that we write in Power BI. So that is where it gets a little bit technical. Okay, but in Tableau, you don't find any technical aspects. It's pretty easy and easy as like drag and drop stuff, right? But in Power BI, as one of the Arjits was saying, that you have to use DAX, data analytics expressions, and you want to write a lot of expressions for a lot of transformations that you want to do in your data. Okay. Yeah, if you know Power Query, yeah, one can easily use Power BI, right? Jaitit, no, it's not Suchit. You're getting wrong. Suchit is not present in this session. Both equally have good market. So if you want to understand all the DAX expressions and get started with Power BI, then you can choose that. Or if you want to simply use the easy tool, which is like Tableau, you can get started with that. It's your choice. Yeah. Okay, guys, let's go forward. I think we are running out of time here for the session because the main part is there, right? So this is about Power BI. Now let's go to our demo case study. Are you guys ready for the case study? Okay, great, great. Yeah. So now what we're going to do, we're going to, for those who don't know how to install PyCaret, simple, pip install PyCaret or use this command. Okay, exclamation mark, pip install PyCaret, simple, write this command and you will install PyCaret in your environment. Okay, and what is clustering, we all know, and overview of clustering modeling module in PyCaret is this PyCaret.clustering. The problem statement that we are going to deal with here is basically to understand how much percentage of the GDP, national GDP, is the expenditure for healthcare in that particular country. Okay, so the data set is basically about the GDP of the country. Okay, where we understand for each and every country. Okay, so I have a column called country here. So for each and every country, I'll understand for particular year what was the percentage GDP percentage of GDP that was created for healthcare expenditure. Okay, so for year 2000 or 2001, if I look at Afghanistan, so 0.09% was the percentage of GDP that was created for healthcare expenditure. Similarly, if you look at for all the other similar years, you can find the similarity between the data points here, right? It's like almost 0.09, 0.098 or something like that. And we have almost close to like 190 countries here in this data set. So if you talk about features, so one is like the country here, which is like categorical variable, and second is the years. So we have the range of years from 2000 to 2017. Okay, and we have the percentage health expenditure of the GDP here in this, the numerical features. So that's what the data is all about. Description of the data set is like percentage or the fractions. Okay, it's just like similar, right? Okay, you can consider like this much percentage of the GDP was your health expenditure. So next is the data set shape. As I said, like in total we have 190 countries and 19 columns. So we have 19 columns in a data set. Okay, okay. If you convert it's 9%. Yes, Arjit, if you convert it to percentage, because right now it's in fractions, right? It's floating points. But if you convert it to percentage, then probably it's like 9% something. And we will do that. The conversion also we will do it, right? Okay. So that is the data set here. Scaling, yeah, we will do scaling, Vinay Kumar. Don't worry, we will do scaling. Before that, I want to split my data set into train and test, because one drawback here we have in PyCaret in terms of doing clustering is that it will not do the train and test splitting automatically. How many of you guys remember that it was done in, let's say, regression models or classification models? Did the PyCaret did the PyCaret do train and test split within itself, or it was like we did separately? Okay, dataset link. Here you go. Yeah, yes. So it PyCaret actually did the train and test split itself, and it used to give us the output as the training set is this much and the testing set is this much, right? But in clustering part, in when we do clustering in PyCaret, this feature is not available because like I don't know if the author might have done it differently, or is it like they want to just test this feature based on train and test bed by doing like by ourselves, right? So for that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the train and test bed here. So I'm going to take the 80% of my test data. So that is like this data is my train data, and data unseen is basically my test data, which is like 20%. So once I run this, now for data modeling, I have 152 rows and 19 columns. For unseen data, like which is basically the test data, I have 38 rows and 19 columns. And here you don't drop your target variable because there is no target variable, right? In clustering or in unsupervised machine learning. Okay, now the part is to import your module, clustering PyCaret clustering module. So for that, you write from PyCaret.clustering import star. It will import all the clustering modules that are present in this PyCaret.clustering package. And now you want to set up your data. For the setup function is basically to set up your data and understand whether you have missing values, or all the pre-processing stuff will be done in this particular setup function. Okay, so for that you need to give your data first, which is basically here we define data, which is 80% of our total data set, and then we're going to normalize our data set, and the session ID is the same as the random seed that we CU is the short form for clustering, Sandeep. So this is just a variable name that we have given. Okay, you can keep it anything, clustering or clustering underscore something, right? DF underscore clustering or DF underscore CLU, anything. Vinay Kumar, normalized function is a basically a what do you say? It's a feature engineering step that we do. So essentially, there are two things: either you standardize your data or you normalize your data. Okay, yeah, it's similar, but the way it is done, it's different. Okay, so let's just talk about this briefly. So when you normalize, your data comes into the range of 0 to 1. Okay, but when you standardize, you don't do your data doesn't come to that range. Okay, so when you want to standardize, you just subtract your data point from the mean and divide it by the standard deviation. But when you want to do it for normalization, you just subtract your data point from the x min, okay, upon x max minus x min. So this is a scaling process where you bring all your variables into one scale. Okay, now when you dealing with normalization, you have your data points lying between the range of 0 to 1. Okay, but when you do standardization, that's not the case, but however it will lie in some scale. Okay, the scale won't be different. Let's say you have variables, age, and you have variable called income. Okay, and now we want to scale them because these two are different in scales, right? For example, the age would be like something 25, 45, 50, 34, something like this. Okay, no Sukrut, you're talking about standard normal distribution. So when we have standard normal distribution, the mean is 0 and standard deviation is 1, right? But when you're talking about standardization, you take the mean of your complete data points and then you take the standard deviation and then minus it from the actual point which you want to scale, right? Okay, so let's say your age variable is something of this sort, and income is something like 10k, or let's say 1000, 10,000, 20,000. So the scales are different, right? If you understand. So we need to bring them on the same scales. That's where you do the standardization concept and bring them into same scales, right? That's what your this standardization step does. But if you want to normalize it, your normalization will do what it will do. It will bring all the values into the range of 0 to 1. That's the difference. Okay. Okay, guys. So this step of setup is basically where you input your data. Okay, and if you want to normalize it, you can normalize it, and you give this session ID, which is basically a random seed concept, where you can reproduce your model again and again, right? That's what you do. Once we do the setup function, what we can do is we can get the output here. ID is 87 and original data is this. Missing values, there are no missing values, and we normalized it, so it's giving us true here. Okay, so that is what the setup is about. Next, after doing the setup, we want to create a model. If you see all the, if we had some missing values, it would have given here that yeah, there are some missing values, and then probably so sometimes PyCaret tries to minimize the value set. Let's say if there are NaNs and something, then definitely it's going to remove those missing values. Okay, it will try to remove those missing values. But sometimes there are values which are like zeros or something. Then probably we have to take care of those things personally. Okay, that's where you can use sklearn also. Okay, you can combine both. You can use PyCaret and you can use sklearn as well and do your transformations there. The next step is create model. So in create model, it's simple. I have assigned this variable k-means, and create model is a function where I want to select my model. Okay. Now, can you guys tell me the difference, like how different it is from the actual regression or classification models that we saw in previous session? Those who are present, what happened in the create model, and how it is different from the k-means stuff? Any answers, guys? All models, right? But here, what is happening, Vinay? There, so you mean to say all models were given in the regression and classification task, and here, okay, 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 yeah, that's right. So in regression and classification task, we used to get our models and all the models which we want. For example, let's say regression. For regression, we used to get linear regression, decision trees, random forest, SVM, all these things, right? So we used to get all the models, and then we used to do the compare model function, if you guys remember, right? But here we are giving k-means, because if I show you documentation here, in terms of clustering, there are all these methods, right? All these kind of clusterings can be done. So let me just open it. Yeah. Okay. So here, all these kind of clustering methods will be applied. Okay. And probably we don't know all these things, right? And we know all, perhaps we know this dbScan or agglomerative clustering or something, right? But we don't need those things right now. We need all we need is basically k-means clustering. That's why we use this k-means parameter here. We're going to specify k-means. Yeah, we had option to ignore models as well, but here, so it is quite different. So clustering or doing unsupervised learning in PyCaret is quite different from what you do in the supervised models, right? The classification and regression tasks that you do. So here you specify the k-means model here, and if you and again the other parameter is basically to specify the number of clusters you want in your model here. Okay, so how do you define, how you choose how many clusters is the next question, right? So for that, you can start with, let's say, 3 clusters. Okay, yeah, elbow curve is something that we get later down the line, but to start, to begin with, so here I have optimized the model, and I know now my 5 clusters are good for my model. That's why I'm taking it, right? But if you don't know, you randomly, if you want to assign some value, you can start with 3 clusters or something, right? 2 clusters or something. So basically, in sklearn we used to have this parameter called n_clusters, where you define the clusters and start your experimentation. So that's what it is here. So you define it. Based on this, it will create the model for your data set, and it's going to give us some metric. So I hope you guys don't know about this metric, and you don't know about this metric. Even I don't know much about these metrics, but however, what I know is the silhouette score. Okay, silhouette score is one metric which is in the range of -1 to 1. Okay, so if you have values +1, it means that your clusters are the data points in your clusters are quite good separated from other cluster. So let's say your cluster is this. So you have all your clusters here. Oh, sorry, all your points clustered here, and you have one more cluster here. Okay. So this is one cluster, and this is one cluster, and the separation which is between this is pretty good. So you'll have your silhouette score here close to 1, +1. Okay. And if your value is 0, is lying somewhere near 0. Okay. Yeah, so if you have your centroid in this clusters, the points that you measure, right, the distance, that's okay. So if you have your value 0 here, it means that the boundaries are pretty close. Okay, so this boundary would be pretty close. Your clusters would be like this. So you have this cluster, and another cluster would be somewhere here merging in between. Okay, so the boundary that you want to draw here would be a little bit difficult for you to differentiate between the two clusters. That is one thing. If you have values close to 0, okay, because the range is -1 to 1, and if you have -1 value, it means that your cluster points, so basically your sample points or data points, are assigned wrongly. Okay, when you have negative values. So if you have negative value, it means that your cluster points are assigned to the wrong clusters. Yeah. Okay, that's what silhouette score gives. And here, if you see, the score is 0.27, which is not a good score. But however, we tried to optimize the model, and that is the best that we did here. If you can try with other cluster numbers, let's say 3, 4, 5, 6 something, yeah, you can get good results for this. Okay. After that, once you create the model, you can just print the k-means, and you can see what is the parameters that you have. So maximum iteration 300, number of clusters that we want is 5. Okay, so all this is similar to what you have in your normal sklearn, right? If negative scalar shall grow, we need to change the number. Yes, Neeraj, it should be high. It should be close to 1. It should be close to 1. Yes, Vinay, it should be high. Okay, so next thing is assign the model. Can you tell me, like, what is the next step that we used to do in revision or classification after create model? Njobs -1 is nothing but using all your codes in your system, Arijit. So if you attended this DAS session that we connected, there I explained that, like, njobs and njobs and underscore jobs is equal to -1 is done when you want to utilize all the codes of your system, and the computations are run parallelly, and the time taken for executing the computation will be less in terms of not taking njobs is equal to -1. Okay, no problem, no problem. Okay, fit the model is done. Neeraj, fit the model is done. Ajay Gupta, fit the model is done, because this is a step that where we fit the model. That's why you have this parameters coming up. What we had in regression and classification. Yeah, we'll go to elbow curves definitely. If you guys remember, compare models, right? Metrics, compare model. So when we did the compare model, we had all the metrics lined up for all the models, and there was a table, right? So we had the table where we had all the models lined, and we had the metrics, relevant metrics given. Yeah. So here that we don't have that option here. So what we have here is the assign model. This assign model is what it is going to do is to assign clusters to our data set. So if you look at this new variable called cluster, as soon as you do this assign model stuff, okay, this function assign model, it's going to assign your cluster to each and every variable. Isn't this easy, right? You get your clusters here. You can see like which cluster, which data point belongs to which cluster. Okay, that's what SN model does. Now let's come to understanding the clusters in visualization. So if you see here, so in total we have five clusters here. So the clustering indexing is starting from 0. So cluster 0 is 1, cluster 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, total we have 5 clusters. Can we do the labeling of clusters? Yeah, you can check, Ajay. I'm not sure about it, but if you want, you can check it, explore it, and if you can do it, then great. You can let us know. Yeah, yes, it's really simple. Yeah, you can understand, right? If you look at the silhouette score, you can say that it's pretty less, right? As Vinay said, it should be really high and close to 1. Okay, so that's why here, because we experimented in with like number of different clusters, right? And this is the best that we got based on the elbow curve. So we tried it for without normalizing the data set, so we were not able to get the good elbow score for it. That's why we tried it with n is equal to 5 and n underscore clusters is equal to 5, and that's what we get. So here we have in total 5 clusters, and if you look at the elbow plot here, so it gives us that the number of clusters is equal to 5 is the best, where your score is 625, the distortion score, which is nothing but sum of square distances of your data points with the centroid, right? Yeah, Vinay, you can try, you can experiment and you can come up with better results also, no issues. This is just like explaining you how we can carry out clustering in PyCharm. And one more thing, right? So the number of data points we have are pretty less, right? So probably the differentiation between the data points is, doing differentiation in data points is like a bit difficult, right? So this is the elbow plot where we get the exact number of clusters we want for our model. And after that, this is the silhouette plot. So silhouette plot, what it gives, again, if you see the score is like 0.27 something here, right? 0.2745. Yeah. So this is the silhouette score that you can figure out here. Cluster label is something that you have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So we have these clusters here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So based on your clusters, it's going to give us a silhouette score, which will tell us how good the differentiation is done. Since this silhouette score is close to 0, we can say the boundary is not good enough. We can improve the model and we can take the score to like 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, something like this. Yeah, simple. It's like you just need to use this function called plot model, and you give your model which you trained, and plot is equal to silhouette. See how there's no what do you want? You don't have to remember the code, or you don't have to search for code. It's just very simple codes that you can put in and you can start working with it. Yeah, it's so simple, it's criminal. Yeah, it can be, Arijit, right? The score is at cluster level. Yeah, for every cluster we will get. So if you're understanding what is this shape means, it says how much data points we have in this particular cluster. So let's say the shapes are pretty much in not equivalent. So this is the shape here is like small, right? Little small. But if we compare these three, this one, this one, this one, the number of data points in these three clusters are pretty good. Okay. And if you look at this one, so the number of data points in this cluster are very less. That's what the shape of this particular clusters gives us in the silhouette plot. So the data points are good here, data points are good here, data points are good here. But if you look at this one, little less than these three, and if you look at this one, like very less the number of data points. Okay. All right. So based on this clustering aspect, we understood some observations here that countries like Nepal, Morocco, Bolivia, etc. are in cluster 0, and countries like Brazil, Portugal, Norway are in cluster 1. And like this, we have various clusters with various countries. But you will not get the entire understanding of which country is exactly in this particular cluster, right? That's a big question here. That's where we have this Power BI. So I'll show you how you can look at along with clusters. The score is also attached in the data. No. Why do you want score, Jigna? So there's no need of getting score of that, right? Yeah, that you can do in sklearn, but I think here I need to check. If you can check, yeah, I think you can look at it because I don't think we can do that. But however, okay, I'll get back to you on this. So I'll check if we can get the coefficient score and like append it to the table here. Okay, good one, good question. Right. Yeah, I understand. I understand. Yeah, definitely. So right now so I was actually focusing on the cluster label here because I wanted to show you in the visualization aspects like which country belongs to which cluster, right? So that's how it was. Anyways, I'll look at it and I'll let you know. Okay, so now since we are done with the clustering and we know these labels are here, but we don't know exactly which kind, if we randomly pick up sub country, right? Let's say India, and we want to understand it in which cluster it is, right? So for that, we will do the visualization and we'll see exactly which cluster it is. That's where the use of Power BI is essential, okay, in terms of visualizing stuff. Next is predicting on the unseen data. So for prediction, simple function, predict model function. So you use this function, you give the model, and for the data you give data unseen. If you remember, the data unseen is basically 20% that we assigned here. Okay, this is data unseen. Test, yes. Okay, so you give that and then you just run this and check for your predictions here. So based on your data points and the training model, your clusters would be assigned again, right? Cluster 3. So this Solomon Islands belongs to cluster 3, Sierra Leone belongs to cluster 2, El Salvador belongs to cluster 1, all these things. So that is the prediction part. Now, if so, what happens is, so the clustering in clustering aspect, let's say you create a model and now you have your test data to test on your particular model, but sometimes you keep getting your data updated, right? So let's say you get a new set of data points for your testing, right? And then how will that perform? That's what you want to understand. For that, what you can do, you can just save the model here, whatever model you trained it. So you can just save it in the name of final k-means. Okay, save your model, just a simple function, save model. And again, whenever you want to test on new data points something, just load this model. Save k-means is equal to load model. You understand this load model function, and then you write your final k-means here, which is the saved ones. Once you do it, again you can create a new prediction, and prediction will be done on the same thing, the predict model function. And again, if you do it, I have used this data unseen, the same one, but if you want to use some other data, you can use it. So if you compare, right, after saving, so this is my data unseen, and before saving, I had these clusters, right, 3, 2, 1, 3, 1. And after saving the model, essentially it says that you don't have to train your model again and again, because see, you create model once and you end your session or you close it. Again when you want to re go through it or reiterate it, what you do, you train it again. Okay, so we are saving your time here. The saving model will help you to reproduce those particular model again. Okay, and the session ID also. Yeah, and if you have new data to test, you can just load the model and just start predicting it. Okay, so if you see the labels here, cluster 3, 2, 1, 3, 1, after saving the model, this is the results. I'm getting the same thing. Yeah, in sklearn you have this pickle. You need to import pickle, right? You need to then save it. So there's a lot of process there. But here in PyCaret, you can just do with one simple line of code. That's it. I don't. I'm not sure about it, but pickle is something we use to save and load the model. Okay. Now comes the demonstration in Power BI. So for those who are not familiar with uh, Power BI or have never installed it in your systems or doesn't know how the interface looks like, okay, I'm going to upload this recording. Yes, Sanket, we will do that definitely. Oh, so we won't be uploading it to LMS, but we will be uploading it to our YouTube playlist. So there you can check it. You can visit our YouTube channel and you can check the recording there. Okay. and you can also check this previous one where you can understand all the basic functionalities of PyCaret. So Power BI, for Power BI installation, you can just go through this link here. We will share the notebook with you. You can just go through this link and do the installation step in your systems. And for those who are like a little bit advanced in Power BI, so you can use this Power BI service where if you want to enable your gateways, right? So if you want to enable your personal gateways and keep updating your dashboards or your on your web server or maybe in your apps or something, for those people we have these links embedded here, so you can go through these links and start working on those fronts, right? But for this session and for demonstration, what I'll do, I'll simply use the basic version. I'll just search for Power BI here. Uh, you'll get the notebook in LMS, Tarun. Okay, we'll do what we'll do. We'll upload it to Insight Thursdays as well, and also to the YouTube playlist. That will be good. Okay, so now we have a Power BI open. The interface. This is how it looks. It's quite similar to Tableau only, but yeah, there is some difference. So you can match. You can see some matching with the Excel kind of stuff. The interface, right? The Power BI, because it's a Microsoft product, so you can see the similarity here. Okay, so now what we do, the first thing is we get data. As I said, I'm going to extract my data from the web, so I just select the web option here. Yeah, it's a free version, Sudipta. Yeah. So I'm going to paste my this link. Which, if you guys remember, this link is same as what our data set is. So raw GitHub user content, insert term one, term two, right? Clustering.csv. So once I click OK here, I'm going to extract my data from that particular link from web. So this is how my data will look like. Okay. So this is the complete raw data that I have from this particular link. Sorry. Okay. You can see the column one is basically, so now you need to understand here the column naming is done not the way we want it. So we need the column name as country and all the years as column names, right? Please share this link. Okay, 1 second. Yeah. So you don't have the column names here. So for doing the column name, what we need to do, we need to transform our data. So here we have this transform option. Transforming data is something like pre-processing it. You need to, you want to remove some data, remove some columns, remove some rows. Okay, so we need to do the transform data. So click on transform data here. Once you click it, this is called Power Query Editor. So this is where you do all the pre-processing step. Okay. Yeah. Give me a yes. Okay. So here what we do, you do all the pre-processing steps. If you want to just change it, or if you want to rename the columns, or if you want to set your first row as your column names, all these things can be done here. Okay. So for that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to transform option here on the top, and I'm going to use first row as headers. So my country, all the years are listed in my first row. So what I'm going to use, I'm going to use this option as use first row as headers. Once I click it, all my first two elements are converted into my column names. So country, I have 2001, all the years are here. Okay. So you have this data with you. Okay. The next thing is we need to import our PyCaret module into Power BI. So how will we do that? If you see this option called run Python script, so you select this run Python script option, and here you need to just simply write the same thing that we used to do in our Python environment. So from PyCaret dot clustering import star. Okay, so one is this, because you need to import the data set, and second is you need to get the data set. Okay, so data set is something we named as oh sorry so it's not data set, it's like you need to mention, you need to get the clusters for your data. So data you have already loaded it, right? So you have from where did you run the script option? Yeah, it's here. So you, if you see this, okay, let me just highlight it. See, you need to click this one, run Python script. So once you run the, once you click this, you will get your Python script. You can enter all your code here, importing module or something. Okay. No, 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 Arijit. There's no need. Okay, so you use this get clusters function, and in this you provide your data set, and you give number underscore clusters. Clusters is equal to 5, because we know that number of clusters that we need is basically 5. Okay, so get clusters and data set and num clusters you define. Once you define this, you just click OK here. Once you click it, it will take some time to do the operations. So it says for information is required about data privacy, you just click on continue and ignore privacy level check for this file. Okay, and just save it. Once you save it, you will get the clusters for your data set. This is going to take some time. Okay, now you have your data set here, and there's a table that has been generated for your data set with the clusters. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on this table, and this table is going to be, where did you import the model that you created? So that's what I wrote, right? So get clusters data set. So you, oh no, 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 you don't have to. So what is the use of importing that model same again here? I'm showing you how you can do it in Power BI, right? Using PyCaret. No, we are not calling the saved script. Okay, so we have this. So if you see where it's getting loaded, yeah, you have this cluster label. Simple. With 2 lines of code, you can do the clustering in Power BI as well. Okay. So once you're done with your clusters, what I need to do, the next thing is basically to visualize your clusters. Okay, so for that, what I'm going to do, there's some operation that I need to do here. Since we have this clusters labeled here for every data point, okay, I'm going to select my years, all the years. Yeah, I have selected my years now, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to unpivot only selected columns. So what does it do? I'll just show you. I'm going to select this unpivot only selected columns option here. Yeah, single row. Yes, Arjit. You will get the single row for all your cluster points. Okay. So if you look at this new transform data, I'm going to rename it. Just a second. I'll write this as year, and I'll write this as GDP. Excuse me. So yeah, now for all the cluster points, so the cluster 2, so these data points are cluster 2. Okay, so and the country is Afghanistan, and for that particular country I have all the years lined down here. Okay, this way you will get it for all the other countries also. That is what this unpivot will do. Yeah, cluster was already a column. Yes. Okay, now we are done with our pre-processing of data. So we have transformed the data completely. Now what we need to do, we need to apply our changes. So for applying our changes, what I'll do, I'll come out of this Power Query editor, and I'm going to uh, apply the changes here. So this is the apply changes option here. So I'm going to apply these changes. So once I apply these changes, with the run Python score. No, you're creating different models here. But since you're creating with PyCaret, I think probably we can have same models because the parameters that you have given are probably same. Yes, Somjit, we will share the code definitely. We will give a notebook and we will also give you the slides and everything. Okay, okay, great. So let's see our transformed data from this data tab here. So we have this data tab. Once I click it, what we have here is basically all the data points: country, cluster, year, GDP. Okay, now is the time for us to visualize our data. Okay, so for this I have this visualization report tab. So this is our data tab and this is our report tab. So in report we will create our visualizations here. So for this, what I'll do, I'm going to create a average GDP column. I'm going to click on GDP. I'm going to create a new measure here. Okay, so if you see this new measure here, you need to write your own expression here for so I'm going to calculate my average GDP. So my average GDP can be calculated by using the calculate function. Okay, and then I'll use average function, and in average function I'm going to give my data set name, which is clustering, and in this I'm going to give my column GDP. Okay, so I have written this expression calculate average clustering GDP, and in this I'm going to hit enter. Now I will have a new variable here which is called average GDP. Okay, let me just change it to percentage. Yeah. Okay. So let's visualize now. First, I need to pick up my labels, my clusters, sorry. So these are my clusters here. Okay. And next is basically, let's understand what average GDP is giving us. Okay. So for that, I'm going to pick up a stacked horizontal bar chart, and this I'm going to put my average GDP. So if you look at this, there's my average GDP column. Okay. If I want to check it for my cluster one, so I'll click on cluster one. Now this is going to give me my average GDP. So if you hover on this, your average GDP is 6.28%. Okay, but you highlighted one, which is this. Okay, so this is the 3.2. This is the actual GDP of a cluster. If you look at cluster one and hover it, average GDP will remain same everywhere. Okay, yeah, from all countries. Average is the for average of all the data points we have will remain same. It's like 6.28% is fixed. And if you look at other things, the highlighted one, if you look at the cluster one, so the 6.95% is the GDP for cluster one. Cluster two, again, if you see 9.16 is for cluster two. Similarly, for cluster three and four, you can check like this. Okay. So this is one of the basic charts that we can do. Why height is changed? What height? I didn't get you the cycle. So no, there is no change in the height, right? So if you're saying bar height, it's a cluster, right? For every cluster, you will have different sizes, right? Yeah. So now let's understand in which cluster do I have like various countries, right? So for that, I'm going to take my map plot. Let me just paste it here somewhere. Okay. The map, I need to just enlarge it. Okay, this looks great. So here in this, I'm going to plot my countries. Okay. Now, if you look at right now, I have selected cluster 0. In cluster 0, you have all these countries. India is also in cluster 0. Okay. So if you want to understand which all countries are there in your cluster 0 and you hover on these points, you will get which country is it. And if you want to understand which in cluster 2, so all these countries are in cluster 2. So for cluster 3, sorry, cluster 2 is this, sorry. Cluster 3, cluster 4. So US is in cluster 4 and all these other countries. Okay. So that is how you can visualize your clusters, all the countries that are there in your clusters, because this thing you won't get in your Python notebook. You have to just check for it, write code, and then check for it, like which countries are there in this particular clusters, or label it basically, right? This is one thing. And next, let's plot one more thing. So let's take a line plot. Okay. Oh, sorry. I actually did it for cluster. Okay. Let's take a line plot here. Okay. Let me just get some space for this. Yeah. In this line plot, what I'll take average GDP and I'll take year. Okay. Now, for cluster 0, if you want to check what is the average GDP by year wise, okay. So you can, since you know in cluster 0, you have all these countries and you have the year, and you can check for the average GDP for respective years for all your particular countries in this cluster. Okay. Now you need to understand with, if I change my cluster here, so if I, right now I'm in cluster 0, if I change my cluster here, if I select cluster 1, all the plots are changing simultaneously. Okay, isn't that great, right? So you can, if you want to understand cluster 1 in separate manner, you can click on it. Yeah, you can click on it and you'll get all the information. So average GDP is this, and all the countries that are present in this cluster are this. And if you want to analyze year by year, then probably this line will give you that thing as well. And cluster 2, similarly cluster 3, everything is dynamic. Okay, so if you just change your parameters here, you change your clusters here, everything is going to change automatically. That's how you can create a dashboard in Power BI. This is pretty simple. This is very simple and very basic thing. Okay, although like experts such as Arijit can create much more good dashboards and reporting reports, right? So you can do that. Not really. Okay, this was wonderful, Arijit. So you can create these kind of dashboards and start presenting to your stakeholders, and this is how you can simplify your analysis and give it as a very wonderful report to your stakeholders, right? That is the use of Power BI, and that is how you can do clustering in Power BI, and that is how you can utilize PyCaret in Power BI. And if you want to do it in PyCaret also, you can do that, right? So that is it from my side, guys. So this is what I wanted to show you here in this session. So please, if you have any questions, let's get with the questions, or else we can end the session because it's already more than 9. We have, the time is. Yeah. Linkage. Yeah. As I showed you this agglomerative option, right? Agglomerative clustering in PyCaret. So you can use that, and there you can. So you're saying like bar chart of all clusters. Click one cluster and show country map. So show that if possible. Yeah, that's what I showed you, right? So 1 second. Let me just go to the Power BI. So this is the bar chart, right? So if I click on cluster 3, the bar chart will change and the countries will also change, and the line will come like this. Okay. Okay, yeah, guys, thank you so much. Okay, Jigna, I think I didn't get your question here. So no problem. You can drop an email to academics, or let's connect. No issues, and then we can carry out this. Okay, thank you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the session, and you guys are now familiar with a tool called Power BI, and I think it's pretty easy to use. You can just explore and get started with it. And also, you can you start using PyCaret as a Python package, right? And go and watch the videos, the earlier videos where we have explained the basic functionalities of PyCaret, and then you can get started with the clustering also. Yes, definitely we will upload the PPT and case study, everything in the LMS. Yes, and also the recording, definitely. Okay, thank you so much, guys. I think we are done for today. Let's catch up next time. Thank you so much for attending the session.